All right. Hello and welcome everybody to New Earth Consciousness. And I want to introduce my guest, Nataliya Basant. She is a spiritual mentor from Portugal. And yeah, I'm super excited to dive into what it is that you teach and your understanding of consciousness and why it matters. So thank you, Natalia, for being here.
Thank you so much, Tanya, for having me here. It's a pleasure to have this conversation with you and talk about consciousness because it's a very important subject for everyone. So I'm really honored to be here. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So I would love to know how you found yourself on this path. Like, how did life evolve for you? I feel like everybody has their own unique journey in terms of awakening and spirituality. And so I'm curious if you could share that with the
Yeah.
audience.
Everyone does have their own unique journey. As for me, it started really early in my childhood. I remember looking at myself in the mirror and I saw myself not as a body.
Mm,
And I probably was maybe 5 years, maybe even less than that. So since that, there have been a lot of kind of spiritual experiences or subtle things that were unfolding in that time. I was born in Ukraine. That's where I spent my younger years, and that's where I studied. Uh, the kind of more in-depth awakening, or it wasn't yet awakening, but let's say unfoldment, started with me meeting a yoga teacher and starting doing traditional hatha yoga. And at that time, I was in school. Uh, I had no spiritual people around me. Everyone was in a regular state of consciousness. So, and it was the times where yoga was something really strange. So
yeah,
you really had to find it because it was not like it is today. But I happened to come across that teacher and I saw that something started happening with me. Like my body changed and my psyche started changing. So I stopped, for example, eating meat at that time. I just said, that's it. It's not for me. But of course, that was very, very early stages. And then life brought me to different places in Europe. I lived in Belgium, in the Netherlands, and then in London. So for the vast majority of my time, I lived in London, and there where a real, let's say, awakening started happening. So yoga has been with me for all this time in various shapes or forms. But at that times, it was more of physical activity rather than real spiritual practice. But I got into what is called Kundalini yoga at that time. And that started shifting energetically a lot of things for me.
hmm,
And I went to India, spent 1 month in Rishikesh with really rigorous training of meditation in the morning, yoga during the day.
yeah,
That and probably there happened like bigger awakening. I would not call it awakening in the sense as I know it is, but um, bigger insight. So I really started experiencing my true nature. And there I met my two teachers who at that time helped me to go deeper and actually go through an awakening, which is called self-realization. So the profound awakening. So one was the healer and the master of meditation, Kundalini meditation, and I spent a lot of time doing meditation and practicing. And the other one was Muji, and I spent a lot of time following his teachings and attending his retreats. And at that time, I realized the true nature. And it was very profound and very deep, and it changed all my life completely. So from London, by grace, by circumstances, don't ask me how, I came to Portugal, and I stayed here without even planning to stay here.
Mm.
So it's all very divinely orchestrated. Now, Portugal, my time was really integration and embodiment of that, because it's one thing to have what is so-called self-realization or God realization, which is very profound, because that shatters the illusion of a separate self. So it's not just an insights that separate self has of true nature. That's all of these are kind of initial preparation for that big realization. But then the next step started was the embodiment of that. So what I call the real integration, deep energetic integration. Because once awakening happens, it kind of has to integrate deeper down through the body.
Mm-hmm.
And it can take a lot of time for some people. For some people, it may take shorter time. So it took several years for that process to happen. And during that time, as consciousness was deepening and deepening and deepening, there were lots of insights and expansions in other areas, for example, as Tantra, that actually helped with deeper integration and deeper realization. Because every teacher has a certain level of depth of realization. So, and let's say the path from self-realization to enlightenment is the path actually of that going into the depths.
So self-realization and enlightenment are slightly different.
Slightly different. It is mostly understood that self-realization is enlightenment, because self-realization is the shattering of the illusion of the separate self.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that shattering of the illusion of the separate self does not necessarily immediately remove all that blueprints and structures
Right.
of consciousness that we all carry. So that's why I say that that it kind of filters down to through your body, through the deeper unconscious layers, so that all that unconsciousness is transformed. Yeah, that's what pure consciousness is. There is no unconsciousness in you anymore. Your consciousness is total and whole. And that is the process from self-realization until enlightenment. So where you basically it's going deeper into your heart, I would say, because it has a lot to do with shadow recesses of your heart.
Yeah.
All the pain, all the suffering, so all that feelings, I could say that it's a dissolution of emotional body.
I see, yeah. Can I ask you what was that experience like of discovering your true nature? If you could put it into words.
I would say that I realized that there was nothing.
Mhm.
That was the realization that and and I realized that there is there
There's
is nothing.
yeah, no
You turn
story, right? No story. It's just
psychological cell. It was all gone. It's like being clear, being emptied.
mhm,
You are like I'm looking at the sky now. It's completely, completely clear. So
yeah,
that's what it is. But at that time, for me, it was not yet integrated because
right.
all had that. It had to integrate down so that it actually is a lived experience. Because what matters is what you live, what you embody and live. That's why what I teach is embodied awakening or embodied enlightenment, which is bringing that realization into daily life, into all areas of your life, because that's where it makes a difference.
Yeah.
So it's not only that you realize your true nature and you kind of rest in that and connect with that from time to time, but you're still suffering, or you still have your life is still not, let's say, not joyful. You don't have the experience of that joy of life
Hmm.
as a corrupted state. So it doesn't. I don't mean that everything has to be perfect in your life.
Right. Yeah, that ever never happens, right? Like there's always life is messy. Uh, so it seems to me like, I feel like at one point in my life, in my 20s, I felt like I had a glimpse of that true nature. It was that feeling of, oh wow, there's nothing, and there was just this peace, and I was kind of mesmerized. And then of course the mind comes back online and tries to grab and hold on to that experience, right? So frustrating because then the ego's involved. It's like, oh, I want to go back there. Um, and so yeah, so I'd love for you to talk about that because I remember my teacher saying that you cannot make enlightenment happen or awakening happen, right?
Yeah, yes, you cannot. At the same time, um, there is a certain degree of, I would say, readiness inside that could speed it up.
Hmm.
For example, if you dedicate your time to exploring that, if you are in environment that is conducive for reflection of your true nature, if you work with a teacher, because teachers are catalysts, really. So they are pure mirrors of your true nature. So the more you are in the company of a teacher, whether it's retreat or one-to-one or in whichever way, the more this gets reflected to you.
Right.
So of course you can speed up the process, but see, not speed up the process of enlightenment, because enlightenment is already there.
Uh,
It's what you
right.
it's really nothing that you need to do. What I'm talking about to speed up is to invite the unconsciousness to rise. Because see, this is enlightenment, it's perfect. Your state is perfect, you're perfect. You don't need to do anything.
Mm.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
and there is the body, and between the body and that, which is no thing,
Hmm.
there is that layer of the self, the psychological self, and that is the scaffolding of pain, of all the memory since you were born, of all the conditioning, of all the ancestral patterns of your parents, all of that is there.
Hmm.
So when deep and profound realization happens, the illusion of the self as an identity of the separate ego is cleared. In most cases, it's permanent, it's gone. Yeah. But then there is this depth of unconsciousness that still needs to rise and be transformed.
So
So
those, yeah, those, I mean, would you call those maybe shadows? I hear that a lot, like shadow work. So,
shadow, you can say shadow, that's basically that which is not yet seen.
yeah.
Yeah. Shadow and pain, which is why from that awakening or self-realization until that deeper deeper integration where nothing is merged with the body, if I could if I could call it that way. um, a lot of unconscious things come up. So it's not that you don't know your true nature, you know your true nature, but there is a process of seeing that unconscious patterns, and also the process of detachment.
Right.
So detachments in the sense that you lose any reactivity. You start progressively losing reactivity and an emotional, let's say, psychological responses to the outside world.
Hmm.
So basically, you are clearing up the remaining of the dream,
Right.
the remaining of the ignorance.
Can I ask you what is the role of desire in all of this? Because I mean, I don't know if you can speak what you could say about that, but it seems to me like desire is, you know, desires, they come and go, right? They're always, I mean, I don't know if one can completely go beyond desire, or maybe that's part of the awakening. I'm curious if you could speak to that, only because I feel like, for example, and you help business owners and entrepreneurs, and how do you integrate all of this into that? Because I feel like any business is addressing some kind of desire, right? It's kind of inescapable. Like you can't really have a business and be like, yeah, there's nothing to set by here, nothing to gain, you know? So, how does it seems like a tricky path. Is it okay to have desire, but yet you have to couple it with detachment? Like how does desire play in this landscape?
Well, I guess by desire you mean ambition, right? Is that
Yeah, ambition. Yeah, exactly. People are always wanting to better their lives, right? Yeah.
well, the thing is that why people want to better their lives externally is because they project, they have that idea that external life will give them the sense of fulfillment that they are looking for.
Right.
That's basically why that's the same mechanism behind enlightenment. Yeah, you behind business, behind relationship, that you are hoping that something externally could give you fulfillment, could bring you peace,
Mm.
and really rest. And what you discover in your experience, that that's not happening.
Yeah, right. People get there and they're like, wait a minute. This was supposed to be the thing, right? And it never is.
Whichever that is, and the sooner you realize it, the better it is, because a lot of business owners just have that illusion that somehow their business will give them that they are looking, and then they get disillusioned, and then they start looking for another thing. The same with relationship. People expect that that relationship it will give them that fulfillment that they're looking for. Again, the same disillusionment. Same happens with the seeking of enlightenment. Yeah, that they are hoping that all of that will bring them to peace and fulfillment. It's the same running after something. It's the same running mechanism of psychological self, and it's useful. Well, when it comes to realization of true nature, it's useful because without that, there would not be really a drive for to go and find the truth, or find a teacher, or actually go and sit with yourself and go into self-inquiry. So the sooner you realize that mechanism happening, the sooner it stops. And the moment it stops, then you start acting in a different way. You realize that, yes, you can still play in the world if that's what you want,
Mhm.
but you don't project any illusions into anything anymore. You don't project any dreams to anything anymore. You still can enjoy having a business
Mhm.
without being attached to the business, without business meaning anything about your self-image or the sense of fulfillment. So business becomes, let's say, a joy, something that you enjoy doing. Yeah, you enjoy helping people. You enjoy producing something. It's a joy. It's you love doing that.
Mhm.
So, and in this sense, if you want to say desire as an expression of love or expression of joy, that's perfectly natural and that's perfectly fine. And the thing is that what people don't realize, it would make you a better business owner, because you are not going to be wasting your energy into anxious attachment to the business, into constant fear, into anxiety, into wasting energy. Is this gonna work? Is this not gonna work? Am I gonna fail? And I'm gonna win? All of that psychological drama that is going in the head, once it's cleared, once you're emptied inside, you can do anything really, anything you want, or do nothing if that's what you please.
Right, right. So I get this sense where it becomes, there's a freedom within it because you're not attached to the outcome. You're not attached to wanting to know the answers of like, am I going to succeed in this? Um, am I going to make money doing this? You just kind of, you're just in a more open, playful state, and yeah, moving within that freedom that's
Yes.
on the inside, right? Yeah.
It's it's all about freedom because once you're bound by illusion, there is no freedom in that.
Hmm.
And ultimately, all illusions must fail you sooner or later. But when it comes from freedom, from really having no expectation, but you is something that is rising in you. That's what you want to do. A simple clarity. Yeah. So basically, we are talking about clarity. We are talking about the integrated state where you are really so clear, so transparent that you just really see inside what you want, if you want something. And then if you want something, you do it. And it's okay to make money. Whatever arises from this state is absolutely fine. And because a lot of spiritual people have that guilt implanted by religion and by many spiritual teachings that money is something unholy, or there is money here and spirituality here. If you're free, you can do what you please.
Mm-hmm.
Thing is that there is no that desire to make money to give you some sense of value or some sense of worth. So it's just a game. It's
Becomes
just
a
a
natural expression,
yes.
right? It's just a natural expression that you get to observe and enjoy, and it's all this coming and going, right? Things are just coming and going. Yeah.
And you're more efficient in this way because you are not wasting energy on unnecessary things.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are moved to do something, if you want to do something, you just go for it. And it's just movement of life through you. There's no overthinking. There is no, what I'm teaching is just to use the mind as little as possible, only for practical kind of calculation and things like that, but really for the life directions, for the life movements, or for life expressions, or for business. Go into that pure intelligence that is behind the mind, that still and silent place where it's very clear. So because the action that arises from silence, that has power
Mm, mm, mhm.
because it arises from life itself.
Right. And so there is this, discernment, right? I know is like kind of core or essential to, self-inquiry. So discernment being, like in the example you're talking about, if I'm moved to do something, I need to discern, is this desire or this impulse to want to act, is it coming from fear, right? Or is it coming from this expanded state of just a natural expression of my true nature?
I would say if you're moved to do something, just go and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't, because once you start overthinking,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah.
you're using again the mind,
Uh,
and it's not going to go the right way. So what I'm saying is be at the state where the mind is not involved in that.
mhm.
So you just sit, and from that silence that is arising, you either have clarity what to do, or the action kind of moves through you. or the body is moved to take some action. So the less there is thinking, the better it is. But you are very present and conscious, of course.
Hmm. Yeah.
And there is a time where this that's why integration is so important, because there is this time, and I had it was some of my clients where she was saying that there is no ambition to do anything.
Right.
Because it's true, you are not, because you're fulfilled, right? You're fulfilled. There is no ambition to do anything at all. You can just sit. But of course, you are a being in this body, and there are things that you enjoy doing.
Yeah. Well, and you have to feed and take care of yourself and, you know,
Yeah, and then there is a practical need, of course, to take care of your everyday life. So you just see what rises, and then you act for that, but never force yourself to act, because sometimes you just there is a time where there is no movement happening, or there is still not clarity about the action, and I would say just sit and just see what rises. Don't force yourself to do just for the sake of doing, because that's restlessness of the mind.
mm,
The mind wants to do all that because the mind is the one that wants to do something. But
right.
here we are shifting to act from that state where there is no restlessness anymore. There is a very organic and natural action that is just happening by life, by the movement of life through your body. Yes.
Yeah.
But it takes time to kind of integrate that state, because what we are talking about is a tremendous restructuring of the brain, your nervous system. So the body kind of needs to assimilate all of that,
Yeah.
and the nervous system needs to adjust to a different mode of operating. So there is a transition period, and that's why guidance can be useful at this stage, because sometimes, as you say, you don't know, am I acting from fear? Am I acting from the expanded state? And all of that are just distractions.
Yeah.
You just have to see more the reflection of your true nature, of that pure, boundless sky, and that your body integrate with that. So there are
Beautiful. So
no just
I want to ask you, so how do you how do you guide people? Like, what is the process of, is, yeah, what is meditation, self-inquiry, coaching, guidance, teachings? How do you support people through those that really want to discover their true nature and be in this process, like, yeah, of that integration, and like, okay, how do you integrate? Is it just sitting with and feeling the body and being detached and observing your mind? And there's so many teachings. How do you, yeah, how do you present it to people? What's the process when someone works?
I simplify that. I bring people into the body and ground them into the body, and through the body we experience the state of being. So in that place, you clearly see your true nature. And everyone who comes can see it immediately. It's very so obvious. The thing is that the mind then comes back, comes and starts. Oh, but okay. Oh, that was a nice meditation. Thank you.
Right, right. Yeah.
Let me run to my
And
business
that
meeting.
is that just ego? Is that just is mind and ego, are they synonymous, or is there a slight difference between? Feeling.
They are, I would say they are synonymous. I would use the word the ego for the self, the psychological self, the psychological identity. That is the self-image plus all that past pain and the hurts and all the shadow unconscious stuff of all the past memory. So that's what the psychological self is. So yeah, the mind, because we we are all conditioned to function up here, and that is the peculiarity of the West. The intellect is very powerful, which is why for the West it's very important to get out of here and be in the body. And especially for women, because women are either in their feelings or in their head. They're never in the body. And that's why if you're not really in the body, it's very difficult to kind of go deeper in being, because you will be always brought outwardly by that energetic appearances of the movement of emotions and thoughts. Yeah, so that's one of the steps we do, and then once you, and during the process as that happens, because if you already came to me to discover your true nature, I know that it's your time to realize that.
Right.
So in this process, it just happens because consciousness designed it this way. Yeah, so it's, old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you are already prepared for that, because the way it works, that these that's called pure consciousness, that the absolute, it draws to itself consciousness. I'm talking about, let's say, personal consciousness, limited consciousness, that kind of is in approximation to it, because not everyone is coming to me, and not everyone wants to find their true nature, and not everyone has to. They're not ready.
Right.
Yeah. So there is the distance between that pure consciousness and where they are as their conditioned, limited consciousness. So wherever consciousness is in, let's say, in the orbit, it's not the right example, but it's in approximation. Yeah, so in energetic resonance, let's put it this way, then process starts happening. Then either the teacher appears, or it goes through certain life experience that bring them to awakening, or they start self-inquiry. So something happens at that point, and it's all designed by the great intelligence. So
Yeah.
at
Beautiful.
specific journey and specific time.
I love that. And so if someone wants to work with you, how can they find you? What do you offer right now?
At the moment, I work one-to-one, and with specific focusing on exposing and dissolving unconsciousness, as well as realizing the true nature. So it's realization of the true nature plus deepening and embodiment, so that you bring it into your daily living life in all areas of your life. So we look at the business, we look at relationship, we look at sexuality, at all the spectrum of life, because from my perspective, it's very important that you actually live realization, not just know yourself as as being, but also live it. Yeah.
Mm.
Not just connect to it from time to time, but have it as your unlimited living experience so that it permeates all your life.
Yeah.
And that often results in peace, in harmony, and in joy, the natural joy and love that is naturally present in your life. So yes, we do one-to-one, and then there is Golden Circle, which are monthly meetings
Mhm.
for those who are uh, in this process of awakening, of self-realization, of post-self-realization, of integration and deepening consciousness. At the moment, it has been a bit more advanced because the people that came were mainly the post self-realization. They were integrating and deepening, but it's open for everyone. So all are welcome. These are monthly meetings or satsang, and there will be also retreats, private retreats in Portugal. So I invite everyone who is interested in that to send me a message or to be informed about the needs and the time. So at the moment, these are the ways that you can work with me.
Beautiful. This is so wonderful. Thank you so much, Natalia, really, for just being an open book and sharing your deep wisdom and your experience and your understanding. And it's um, how do I want to say? It's like it's just I just want to acknowledge and just, honor you and that this path that you've been walking, like what you're presenting here, and I hope that the audience can hear this, like this is a lifetime of deep inquiry, application of um, walking the walking through the eye of the needle, walking that path is definitely not for the faint of heart. And I think it's just really beautiful that of what you're bringing to the world to share. Yeah, I see it as such a just an amazing opportunity for whoever's ready to step into your world to receive and to really just radically change their life and their experience of life and themselves and others. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tanya, for inviting me. It's been a pleasure to have this opportunity to share my experience with you because I can only share my experience. And as far as the spiritual life, there is no such thing as, spirituality kind of up there, separated from your daily life. So it's not just that you practice and then you leave the practice and then you are lost in the world or you forget what you realized in the practice or in the meditation. So here, spiritual life is your daily life.
Hmm.
And that's exactly what the teaching is for, to make your daily living life as a practice.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Sometimes it's every day there is a challenge. Every day there is an opportunity to see more clearly. Every day there is an opportunity to expose more unconsciousness. Every day there is an opportunity to go beyond these patterns of the self that limit you, or that sense of unworthiness or not enoughness, whatever is there. Every day is an opportunity. Every day is an opportunity to surrender more,
yeah,
really,
yeah.
of your willfulness, of that of that force of the self, and really, really step back into power. And specifically, I invite women to do that because women are the ones that are needed for that. That consciousness is kind of preparing more and more women to be at this place where they embody that purity or the state of love, the state of being, because that is what the world needs the most, as far as I see it. So that's the invitation to all beautiful women to either step on this path of discovery of your true nature, or continue and continue deepening, continue integrating, and continue being an embodiment of truth, so that your life can actually touch others.
Beautiful. Thank you, Natalia. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who's watching. Please explore Natalia's website. It's in the description. And until next time, have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Danny.